Hello, friends. It is a privilege to join you on this walk to Bethlehem, this journey to Bethlehem, celebrating Christmas. I'm going to be talking to you about the Blessed Virgin Mary, and I feel very, very fortunate and privileged to be able to talk about her. I'm going to share with you a different aspect about Christmas and the Virgin Mary, and it's really surrounding the topic of mercy. And we know that Mary plays a very special role in salvation history. She is the Geverah. In Hebrew, the Geverah is the Queen Mother. And in the Old Testament, we know that the Queen Mother played a very important role in Israel as an advocate, as an intercessor for the people. When we come to the New Testament, we see that the Gospel of Luke and the visitation of Mary and Elizabeth really presents her as something even more than an advocate. The story of the visitation portrays the Blessed Virgin Mary as the new Ark of the Covenant. Now, this is very important. I want to just take you through those verses real quick to demonstrate to you that Luke knew exactly what was going on when he described the Blessed Virgin Mary in the visitation in an identical way that David is described as coming into Jerusalem with the Ark of the Covenant. Now, the Ark of the Covenant is going to be one of the main things that I want to make that point, and the point that mercy is coming from the Ark of the Covenant. But let's look at that visitation real quickly here and see how there is a parallel between David bringing the Ark into Jerusalem and the Blessed Virgin Mary coming into the area of Jerusalem to visit Elizabeth. Now, you'll find this in Luke's Gospel, chapter 1, and I'm just going to read to you the parallels here, and you can write these down and meditate them on your own. So we're going to look at 2 Samuel chapter 6, verses 1 through 19. That's where David brought the ark into Jerusalem. And then in the New Testament, Luke chapter 1, verses 39 through 56. Now, we don't have the time to read all that, so I'm just going to draw the parallels. In 2 Samuel 6, in verse 2, and I'm going to quote here, it says that David arose and went to Judah. Now, in the New Testament, in Luke's Gospel, concerning Mary, it says, Mary arose and went to the hill country of Judea. Same language, same language. The next parallel, in 2 Samuel chapter 6 and verse 9, David cries out, "How can the ark of the Lord come to me? How can the ark of the Lord come to me?" And in Luke's Gospel, chapter 1 and verse 43, Elizabeth asks, "Why is it granted that the mother of my Lord should come to me?" And now back into 2 Samuel for the third parallel, 2 Samuel chapter 6 and verse 14 and 15, David is found leaping and dancing before the Ark of the Covenant. He's leaping, he's dancing, he's excited about the Ark of the Covenant. And we see in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 1, verses 41 through 44, the baby in Elizabeth's womb, John the Baptist, is leaping for joy in Mary's presence. And then finally we have in 2 Samuel chapter 6 and verse 11, we see that the Ark of the Covenant, David carrying the ark, bringing the Ark of the Covenant, remained at the house of Obed-Edom for 3 months. Now, in the New Testament, in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 1 and verse 56, it says that Mary remained at the home of Elizabeth and Zechariah for 3 months. So you can see there that we have just amazing parallels between David bringing the ark into Jerusalem and the Blessed Virgin Mary coming into Jerusalem to visit Elizabeth. And the point is that Mary is the new Ark of the Covenant. Now we get to what I really want to share with you. In the Old Testament, the Ark of the Covenant had 3 major things that were before it. And it came out of the ark. One was a bowl of manna, Another one was a copy of the commandments that were broken, and now we have a copy that's put into the Ark of the Covenant. And we also have the budding rod of Aaron, which signifies the the great high priest. So you have the manna, you have the word, and you have the priest. Now, what comes forth from the Blessed Virgin Mary when she gives birth to Jesus is the bread of life, the Word of God, and the great high priest. And so we further see that Mary is the new Ark of the Covenant. Now, the Ark of the Covenant was the very center of Israel's worship. It was in the Holy of Holies, and the Ark of the Covenant was not that big, but it was made of acacia wood, overlaid with gold, and on top of the Ark of the Covenant, there were two cherubim facing each other with their wings touching. And beneath their wings, the top of the Ark of the Covenant, that was the mercy seat. That's where Israel obtained mercy from God. So this, you can see, is a very, very important piece of furniture, and it's at the center of Israel's worship. Well, things didn't go too well after David. After David came Solomon, and Solomon wasn't a great story when you read it carefully. But then after Solomon was Rehoboam, and everything went south. The kingdom divided into two nations. You have Israel to the north with 10 tribes, and you have Judah to the south with 2 tribes, which included Jerusalem. Well, the north didn't obey the Lord, and so in the year 720 we have the 10 tribes to the north taken away by the Assyrians, and then Jerusalem in the south. They didn't listen to the Lord either, and the prophets spoke. And in the year 587 BC, the Babylonians came down and they destroyed Jerusalem. But we've got a few verses that tell us what happened to the Ark of the Covenant before the Babylonians destroyed Jerusalem. And you'll find this in 2 Maccabees chapter 2, verses 4 through 7. I'm going to read this to you and then reiterate the major point that we want to look at. It was also in the writing that the prophet, having received an oracle, ordered that the tent and the ark should follow with him, and that he went out to the mountain where Moses had gone up and had seen the inheritance of God. And Jeremiah came and found a cave, and he brought there the tent and the ark and the altar of incense, and he sealed up the entrance. Some of those who followed him came up to mark the way, but could not find it. They couldn't find the cave. And when Jeremiah learned of it, he rebuked them and declared, listen, the place shall be unknown until God gathers his people together again and shows his mercy. So let me break that down. Before the Babylonians came down to destroy Jerusalem, Jeremiah said, we must save the Ark of the Covenant. So they took the ark, they hid it in a cave, sealed it up. The guys that he was with said, we need to put a marker there so when we come back after the 70 years in Babylonian exile, we will rebuild, and at least we'll know where the ark is. And Jeremiah said, no. He rebuked him. He said, the place shall remain unknown, a mystery, until God gathers his people together again and shows his mercy. Very, very powerful. Now, this is what I want to share with you, is that the last place we saw the Ark of the Covenant, the source of mercy, was in a cave. And we know that when Jesus was ministering during his 30 years, the Ark of the Covenant was not in the Holy of Holies. In fact, Jesus in Matthew's Gospel stood on the Mount of Olives, looked at the temple and said, "Oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, the city that stoned the prophets. How often I wanted to gather you together as a hen gathers her chicks, but you would not. Behold, your house is empty and desolate." You see, the ark wasn't there. It turns out that the Blessed Virgin Mary is the new Ark of the Covenant, and John the Revelator in Revelation even talks about this as he sees into heaven the Ark of the Covenant, and then he describes the Virgin Mary. So the last place we saw the Ark in the Old Testament was in a cave, and then the next time we see the Ark of the Covenant giving birth to Jesus, the source of mystery of mercy, it's in a cave in Bethlehem. Isn't that beautiful? But it gets even better when you understand the relationship between the word for mercy and the word for womb. They come from the same word. The word for mercy is racham, and the word for womb is rechem. Comes from the same word. So the racham, the mercy of God, comes through the rechem, the womb, the rechem, the womb of the Blessed Virgin Mary. That is so beautiful, and it really changes the way we look at Christmas and Bethlehem. We're familiar with all the beautiful songs and all of the beautiful artwork, and we set up things around our house with Bethlehem and the animals and Joseph and the wise men, and it's all wonderful. But we have to remember that it was the new Ark of the Covenant who came to Bethlehem and gave birth, because she was the Ark of the Covenant, the mercy seat. She gave birth to Jesus Christ, who brings mercy. And so God is gathering his people together, as 2 Maccabees chapter 2 spoke about through the mouth of Jeremiah. God is gathering his people together, and he is showing his mercy in Jesus. You see, this changes Christmas. It changes it. And now suddenly mercy is the gift given to us this year. We've made this long journey to Bethlehem, and many of you have been joining us on that journey, and now is the time to reach out and take hold of the mercy of God in your life. It's a gift. Unwrap it and enjoy the mercy of God in your life. Merry Christmas.